He realized. It wasn't sudden, but it didn't take too long either. Something in you moved him in a way he never imagined, and now he can't avoid it anymore. He feels, and feels more than before. Much more. It's intense. It's like everything in him is saying, I can't lose this. The way you look at him without forcing anything. The way you are without trying to be more or less than you already are. Everything about you has weight now. Every detail, every choice. He started to notice things that perhaps went unnoticed before. The tone of your voice when you say something simple, the care you take in listening and being there even when no one notices, he realized. And when that happened, something changed. It wasn't just about liking more or loving more. It was about understanding. He understood what you are to him, the person who gives meaning, who makes him want to be better, who makes him wonder how he got so lucky. It's not about a moment or a specific word. It's about all of you. You exactly as you are. Now he looks at you and sees everything differently, clearer, stronger. He no longer thinks about if, he thinks about when. When he can give you more, take care of you more, do more for you, because he understood. And that made him love you in a way he might not have even known he was capable of. He didn't choose to feel this. It wasn't a conscious decision, it wasn't a plan, it wasn't something he could foresee or control, but it was as if something inside him aligned in a way that he could no longer ignore. Each passing day he notices more. He notices the impact you have on his life, the space you occupy, the difference you make. He feels it. He knows it. When he looks at you now, it's not just looking, it's seeing. He sees who you are, what you bring, what you represent. It's not about perfection, because he doesn't love you for that. He loves you for the nuances, the little things, for what you do unconsciously, for what you say when you think no one is listening. He loves you because you are real, because you are exactly who he didn't know he needed. You may not see how much it transforms him. Maybe you think he is the same as before, but he is not. He thinks more about you now. He thinks about how you feel, what makes you happy, what worries you. He finds himself wanting to know more, wanting to do more, because now he knows that no one makes him feel the way you do. He can no longer treat you lightly, as something that is just good. He treats you as something essential. He feels this every time you smile at him, every time you trust him. He realizes that you are not just any choice. You are the choice he would make 1,000 times, even if he had other options. And maybe he doesn't tell you this with clear words. Maybe he is still afraid of exposing himself, of seeming vulnerable. But he shows it, in the way he looks at you when he thinks you are not seeing, in the way he seeks to be close, even when he has nothing specific to say, in the way he makes it clear that you are different, that you are special, and no matter how much he tries to disguise it, it is impossible. You have changed what he feels. You have changed how he sees things, and that is not something he can forget or ignore. He has come to love you more because he understood the value of who you are, because he realized that you are unlike anyone he has ever known before. He loves what you do for him, even if you don't even know you're doing it. He loves the way you are you, without trying to please anyone, without forcing anything. He loves how you make him feel stronger, more confident, more capable, and at the same time more vulnerable, because loving like this is losing control, and he knows it. He feels it every time he's with you. And if you ask yourself, but why? Why now? What changed? The answer is simple and at the same time impossible to explain. He saw something, he felt something, something that was there all along but now became impossible to ignore. It's you. It's what you are. It's what you represent to him. Now he wants you more, he cares more. He thinks of you before making decisions, before acting. He feels as if you were part of him, as if there was no me without thinking of us. And this is not something that happens by chance. It's not something he could fake. It's real and it's deep. He doesn't know where this will lead, but he knows he doesn't want to lose it. He doesn't know what the future holds, but he knows he wants you in it. Because now, he realized what you mean, and that made him love you more, much more. He perceives, even without being able to explain, that something inside him has changed. It's almost as if your presence is a constant reminder of who he wants to be, where he wants to be. He feels that, with you, everything is different, more significant, more full of purpose. It's as if you were the balance he didn't even know he needed. Not because you did something extraordinary, but because you are extraordinary in a way he never noticed before. He can no longer see the world the same way. His choices now go through the filter of what would be best for both of you. What was once about him now has an implicit us. He feels a new responsibility, not because you asked, but because he wants it. He wants to be part of your life, wants to protect you, understand you, make you happy. And he knows that loving more is risky, that the more he gives himself, the more he places himself in a vulnerable position. But he accepts that, because to him, you're worth every risk, worth every effort. It's not about the fear of losing you, it's about the desire to keep you, because the idea of not having you by his side doesn't even make sense anymore. You are a part of him now, a part he didn't know was missing until he realized it was. And it's not just about what he feels, it's about what he sees. He sees how you face things, how you deal with the world, how you care about the people around you. He sees your strength even when you doubt yourself. He sees your fragility even when you try to hide it. And all of this only makes him love you even more, because you don't need to be perfect to be enough. You are already everything. He doesn't love you because he expects something in return. He loves because it's inevitable, because the more he gets to know you, the more he realizes there's no turning back. You are the choice he makes every day, even when he doesn't need to choose. You are the reason he wants to be more present, more attentive, more connected. And he knows that maybe you don't understand the depth of this. Maybe you think he's just being more affectionate, more dedicated. But to him, it's much more than that. It's as if he has discovered a new way of living, a new reason to believe, to try. And all of this started with you, with who you are, with what you brought into his life without even realizing it. And yes, he feels fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of not being able to show you how much you mean to him. Fear that at some point he might not be able to make you as happy as you make him. But this fear only reinforces how much he cares, how much he is willing to try, to grow, to learn. He won't say it so directly. Maybe he'll never find the right words. Maybe he'll get lost in the attempts to explain the inexplicable. But he will show it, in the way he takes care of you, in the way he chooses to stay, in the way he looks at you, as if you were the center of everything. Because to him you are, and no matter what happens, he knows that loving you is the most real thing that has ever happened in his life. And he doesn't want it to end. He just wants you to know. Even if he can't say everything, even if he doubts whether you notice. He doesn't know exactly when he started feeling this strongly, but he knows now that there's no way to ignore it. You are the first person he thinks of when something goes right, and also when everything seems to fall apart. So it's you he wants close, no matter the reason, no matter the moment. That says a lot, even if he doesn't say it with words. And he realized that the way he feels about you is not common. It's not fleeting. It's something that builds within him every day, without him even noticing. He started to think differently. You became part of his decisions, even without being present. When he thinks about the future, your image is there. Not vaguely, but as someone essential, someone with whom he doesn't just want to share the good days, but also endure the difficult days. This is rare, and he knows it. He feels it more and more. He finds himself observing the details, the way you play with your hair, how you laugh at something simple, even the silence between you. Before, he might have let these things pass, but now they are important. He sees something he didn't see before, the depth, not of what you say, but of who you are. And that is impossible to ignore. He also feels the weight of responsibility, because now he understands that truly loving someone is not just about wanting to be close. It's about caring. It's about taking care. It's about putting the other person first, even when it's not easy. He feels that with you. He wants to be better, to do more, because you brought out a version of himself that he barely knew existed, a version that wants to give, that wants to be strong for both of you. And at the same time that he feels stronger, he also feels exposed, because loving like this means losing control. He knows that you are the person who could emotionally destroy him if you wanted to, but he doesn't care, because for him, the risk is worth it. You are worth it. He realizes that the way you are is not something he could find in another person, and that scares him because it means he can't simply accept losing you. It's not a matter of need, it's a matter of choice. He chooses you every day, even if it scares him, even if he's afraid of not being enough. You are the reason he thinks more before acting. He worries about not saying something wrong, not out of fear of hurting you, but because he wants you to know that he is there, present, attentive. He realized that loving someone like you requires more than he has given to anyone else. And he is willing to give. Because with you, it's not about wanting, it's about needing. Not in the sense of dependency, but in the sense of purpose. You make him want to be more than he is. You make him want to create something solid, something that lasts. He sees that in you, he feels that. And even if he doesn't know how to say all of this, he tries to show it, in each gesture, in each choice, in each moment. Now he finds himself imagining what it would be like if everything between you were even more intense, more profound. He doesn't want superficiality anymore. He wants truth, he wants depth, he wants everything. And that's something he only feels with you. He knows he could live without you, but he doesn't want to. Because to him, living without you would be like living half a life. He feels this with every fiber of his being, and when he looks at you, he knows. He knows that nothing is more important than making you realize how much you mean, how much you changed everything. And he doesn't want to let that pass. He doesn't want to be just another person in your life. He wants to be the only one. The one who understands you, who supports you, who makes you feel that life is worth it. He wants that. He wants you. He knows the love he feels for you is unique, but he also understands that it's not enough just to feel. He wants you to see, to know, to feel what he feels. He wants what's inside him to overflow and touch you in a way that makes you understand the depth of this feeling. It's not about pretty words or grand gestures. It's about everyday life, the details, the little things he does without you needing to ask. It's about caring for you in a way that goes beyond the obvious. He realizes that loving you is a constant learning process. Not because you demand something, but because he wants to be more for you. He wants to learn what makes you happy, what makes you insecure, what makes you shine. He wants to understand you completely because he understands that true love is not superficial. It is something that requires dedication, patience, and vulnerability. And he is willing to do that because he knows you are worth it. And at the same time, he knows that loving is a risk. He feels the weight of the responsibility to nurture this feeling, to protect what you have. He feels fear, yes, fear of making mistakes, fear of not being enough, fear that, at some point, he will fail to show you how important you are. But this fear does not paralyze him. On the contrary, it motivates him. He uses this fear as a constant reminder that he needs to be present, attentive, and committed. What he most wants now is for you to understand that he is not here by chance. He is not with you out of convenience, habit, or lack of options. He is with you because he chooses you. Every day. He chooses you because you are the person who makes a difference in his life, who turns ordinary days into something special. He chooses you because loving you is the best thing that has ever happened to him. And he does not want you to have doubts about this. He knows that words can be flawed, that sometimes it is difficult to express what is in the heart, but he wants to show it. In the way he takes care of you, in the way he respects your choices, in the way he stands by your side even when things are not easy. He wants you to feel how committed he is, how much he cares. And now I want to ask, have you ever felt this before? Have you realized the impact you have on another person's life? Maybe you haven't noticed, but it's possible that someone sees you exactly as he sees you, as someone irreplaceable, as someone who transforms, who inspires, who illuminates. Think about it. Reflect on what you represent. Because sometimes we don't realize how important we are to someone until it is said. And if you are hearing this now, know that perhaps it is time to see what is right in front of you. I want you to be part of this conversation. I want to hear your story, your point of view. Have you ever felt that someone loves you with this intensity? Have you ever experienced something that made you understand the true meaning of love? Leave your comment below. Share what you feel, what you think. This exchange is important. It makes us grow, makes us understand that we are not alone in our emotions. And if this message touched you, if it made you reflect, leave your like. It's something so simple, but it has a huge impact. Every like makes this message reach more people, helps it find those who need to hear this today. Additionally, subscribe to the channel. This is not just about following more content. It's about being part of a community, a space where we can share, learn, and grow together. When you subscribe, you become part of something bigger. You allow us to continue bringing messages like this, reflections that touch and transform. So click on subscribe, leave your like, comment, share. Let's take this message to more people together. Because love in the end is about that. Connection. It's about finding ourselves in each other's stories, recognizing ourselves in the words we hear. And remember, you are important. You have an impact on the lives of people around you, even if you don't realize it. Sometimes who you are, what you do, completely transforms someone's perspective, someone's feelings. And that's beautiful. Do not underestimate the power you have to change another person's life, just as he realized the power you have in his life. So now it's up to you. Leave your comment, tell your story, share how this message resonated with you. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. Sometimes a word, a reflection, can change everything. Let's spread this message together, this feeling, this love that transforms us. You are a part of this. Subscribe, like, and never stop believing in the power you have to touch someone's heart.